Hello, 6Es and receiving students. Thank you. You may be seated. I'd like you to quickly open to your activity that we did in our previous lesson, and we are going to make correction to those two exercises. So quickly open to that page that you have done your exercise. Okay, we did make correction to first activity exercise. We will now continue making correction to exercise 3. This is from our previous lesson activity. And see, there were 3 diagrams of the thermometers, and you were to get the reading off from those 3 thermometers. Who would like to give us the first reading for the first thermometer? Okay, let's have Emmanuel.
39 degrees Celsius.
Do we all agree? Did we all have 39 degrees? Yes or no? Okay, who's got another answer? Okay, Samantha?
38 degrees Celsius.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Emmanuel. Your answer is close to Samantha's answer. What the answer that I'm looking for is 38 degrees Celsius. Let's have Alexander to give me the answer to 3B. Minol, you others check through your answers.
39.5 degrees Celsius.
Okay, very good. Do we all agree? Did we all have 39.5 degrees Celsius? Yes. It's supposed to be 39.5. Remember that on a thermometer, each division is 1 degree Celsius. So you've got to be very careful when you are looking at a thermometer to get your reading. And who would like to give us the answer to letter C? Owa? Receiving students, we are now on the last answer to the activity exercises from your previous lesson.
.6 degrees Celsius.
Okay, very good. 38.6 degrees Celsius. Or if you have 38.7, I will still accept that answer. So I will write those two answers. Looking around, I saw some students with this answer. So receiving students and 6Es, these are the answers to your previous lesson exercises. Okay, sorry, exercise 3B is supposed to be, okay, it was read as 39.5. So just a correction there. So I will repeat, when we are looking at thermometers or getting readings out from a thermometer, you got to be very careful because on a thermometer there are what type of numbers? Negative and positive numbers. When we are looking at positive numbers, as soon as the place or the alcohol in the thermometer rises, we should now know that it is reaching the boiling point or the melting point when it becomes or something becomes hot. When it goes down towards the negative numbers, we are now going down the freezing point. It becomes cold. So we should now know that there are different types of words that describe the type of temperatures that we will come across. We have warm, cold, very hot, very cold. Those are type of words that describe the temperatures that we might experience when we go through certain places or live in certain places. So don't forget, thermometer is an instrument that we use to measure temperature. You're not going to use something apart from a thermometer. Okay, we will now move on into our lesson topic for today, but before that, I've got some questions to ask the class and receiving students that can lead us into our lesson topic. So we have the first question now on the screen. What is the date today? What is the date today? Receiving students, I wonder what was the date that you wrote in your book? Milika. Receiving students, I'd like you to read out the date to your teacher.
21st.
Okay, very good. 21st. 21st of what? When we are giving date? Okay, 21st of September. What is the year? Come on, 6 years.
21st of September 2010.
Okay, very good. The date today is given to us by Milika, 21st of September 2010. So this is the date that you should have written in your exercise book. Now class, when do we start school? When do we start school? In the morning or in the afternoon? Minol. Receiving students, please do tell your teacher when do you start school?
In the morning.
Okay, in the morning. Okay, can you tell us what time actually do you start your class in the morning? You should already have this in your mind.
8 o'clock.
Okay, very good. We normally start school at 8 o'clock. So bear in mind, 60s and receiving students, you should all know now when you actually start classes or when school begins in the morning. At 8 o'clock you should be in the classroom. So it is very important that you should know your time when you start classes. Now what is the day today? Should be very easy. Let's have Michaelin. The receiving students, what is the day today?
Tuesday.
Okay, very good. The day today is Tuesday. And the fourth question, how many more months before the end of the year? How many more months before the end of the year? Okay, let's have Taylor.
Three.
Okay, there are 3 more months before we reach the end of the year 2010. We have October, November, and December. So don't forget. And our final and the last question, in what year did we gain independence? We just celebrated all that. Okay, let's have John.
1975.
Do we all agree? Yes. The year that we gained independence is in 1975. Irene also gave us the day and the month, 16th of September 1975. And we have seen a lot of celebration that took place at that time. And all these questions leads us into our lesson topic, which is on time. These are some of the things that make up time. What is time? Looking up on the PowerPoint now, or the screen, time is measured in units. The base unit is seconds. When we use a clock, we must remember that it all begins from the seconds. time starts with a second, or it is measured in seconds. Once you miss a second, whatever you want to do will never be done. Let's now have a look at some of the units of time that we normally use in our everyday life. These are just units and how they can be written in a short form. Okay, looking at the first unit, okay, we have the seconds. Class, we have the seconds there. When you come across at times, it is written in a short form as sec, or a small letter s. Then we have minutes, or short form mins, M-I-N-S. We have the hours, short form HRS, or H. We have the days, or capital letter D. We have the weeks, or we can have it as WK, as a short form. Month can be written in words as this, or a short form MTH. Decade, or deca. We have century, or cent. Millennium, or we have milli. So these are some units of time that we will be using in our lesson for today, and bear in mind, they are units that we will be continuing using them in our everyday activities. Remember, the time is very important. Some of us still don't really understand what time do to us, or why is it important. But if 10 minutes is gone past by, you have missed one part of your activity, and then you run into the other lesson time activity. So bear in mind, 60s and receiving students, when we are talking about time, we must consider how important it is also. Once the clock ticks off with a second hand, it continues on, it will never stop. The time will just continue moving on. So using these units of time, I know in your previous grades you have learned some number facts or time facts that you have learned that makes up these units of time. We have an activity exercise that you are going to do as part of your exercise. In front here, I have your blank table, incomplete table, like what is on the screen. And I hope the receiving teacher has also prepared the number facts. Should be cut out so that the kids can, or the children can paste them on their correct spaces that are being left out on this activity chart. So 60s and receiving students, this is what you are going to do as part of your activity, to complete by choosing the correct time fact numbers, and then you paste it next to the correct units. 60s and receiving students, are we clear on what to do? Yes. Okay, good. Should you have any questions to ask, please do not hesitate to raise your hand up. Work in groups. discuss among your group which units give which unit or which number of facts. Everybody should be contributing. Okay, looking around, most groups have completed first part of the activity, the first chart. There's one group that have actually completed the whole chart. So I'd like to ask this group to come up and display their chart on the whiteboard. Thank you, OWAS group. Quickly, receiving students, we are now correcting the chart that has been completed by one of the group in the model class. Okay, let's sit down quietly now and look at what OWAS group have come up with. There shouldn't be anything be done on your table. You should be now listening.
60 seconds is equals to 1 minute. 60 minutes is equals to 1 hour. 24 hours is equals to 1 day. 7 days is equals to 1 week. 14 days is equals to 1 fortnight. 2 weeks is equals to 1 fortnight. 28 days is equals to 1 month. 4 weeks is equals to 1 month. 365 days is equals to 1 year. 52 weeks is equals to 1 year. 12 months is equals to 1 year. 10 years is equals to 1 decade. 1,000 years is equals to 1 millennium. 366 days is equals to 1 leap year. 100 years is equals to 1 century.
Okay, let's give our 5 big claps. Okay, class, I know you have come across having all those answers that Hoa have presented from the chart that has been completed by his group. So these are the answers that you should have pasted next to those different units of time that you were to complete as part of your activity exercise. So if you haven't completed yours, you can make correction to that. I will be collecting your charts to make corrections to that also. Okay, looking up now on the PowerPoint, we have words that describe time as part of our summary. So we have time in the center. We have date, months, seconds, minutes, hours, years, weeks, and days. These are everything that makes up time. So I'd like you to quickly copy that into your book. Okay, our key phrase for today's lesson: time is difficult to understand but easy to measure. To the receiving teacher, our next lesson topic is on time conversion. Materials that would be needed are the activity chart that we just completed in our previous lesson, the time fact chart that we will be also needing that in the lesson on time conversion, markers and A3 papers if you have any. Otherwise, you can always prepare those on the blackboard. With that, 60s and receiving students, we have come to the end of our lesson. Thank you very much for your participation.